Quiet on the set. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. I'm dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy, not so retired as I am. Welcome to Mondays with Myrt, where we talk about anything and everything that may have come across our Genia desk in the last 2 weeks since last we met. I have Hillary as my co-host today, and Hillary, if you would bring people up on on the panel, up on the stage, we'll introduce our panelists today. Okay, first we have Randy. Keep bringing him up. Yep. Randy, how's it going there in California today?
It's not rainy yet, but it's going to be.
Boy, that's amazing for San Diego.
It's been 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, oh golly, good luck. And Ellen, you're my timer today. Randy's doing the links. How are things in AZ? You're something muted in line, I think. Probably sat on the button. If it's a red button, we can't hear you for the red light. Great, we lost you. All right, try that. Keep talking. All right, I don't know. Go out, come back in, buddy. Thank you, dear. Hi, Jill. How is it down south? 2 hours.
Well, counter to Randy, I would say that it's not sunny yet.
It's actually the weekend was pretty nice. We've had
Yes,
some
very
pretty
nice.
days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. And Bill, how are things upstate?
It's going good. We're above freezing for a change. So the huge mounds of snow are going to be turning into a lot of slop.
Oh, and the crocus will start coming up, and then the daffodils, and later the tulips. It's all good. And Miles, tell us how things are in Florida. I have been seeing icicles on palm trees. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, all of our plants are dead. They all got froze. It was 28 degrees in Florida a couple of days ago or last week. Yesterday it was 84. Today it's only 70.
It's
Yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah, Hillary, what is this with the fact that you live in Snowdonia and you're not getting snow, you're getting rain?
Well, we did get some snow. On Saturday morning, we woke up to snow on the top of the mountains, not in the valley where I live.
Yes.
And we very rarely get snow in the valley. It's because we're quite coastal here. We don't get the worst of the weather. We get quite mild weather compared to a lot. So I quite
Okay.
like that.
You know, I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest and we have milder weather than we would have because of the Japanese current. And it really does help. Let's see, Ellen, is your mic working?
I think so.
Oh, good. Because I need your help.
I set it up before. I don't know why.
I don't know either. Well, on the other side, on the YouTube side, there's Sherry. She's cracking the whip and monitoring over there. Thanks for being there, Sherry. Let's see who else is there. Claire is on that side this morning. I think she's kind of got a lot on her plate, so we're really glad to see you here anyway. Um, and hello, Betty Lou. Good to see you. And Valerie is here. It's sunny, like Sherry said, weirdly warm. Crazy, crazy weather. Hi, Lorraine from British Columbia. I'm looking north. Wait, which way? That's north. And waving to you. We're very close. And Bev's up there in Victoria. Oh, I love Victoria in the Bouchard Gardens. It's wonderful. Gwenny's in Oceanside, and oh no, she's going to have one of those atmospheric river storms that, remember, Jill, we had three of them, two in December, one in January. Golly, it's a rough thing. And the world's best, greatest, most wonderful neighbor, Maria, is out there. She's in Tokerville. And hi, Miriam, my writing accountability partner over there in Spokane. We are going to meet in Ephrata one of these days at a quilt store. We just were thinking about that. Hey, there's Bobby out there. Even Claire is saying they're having weird winter there in, I can't remember if she's in Missouri or I think she's in Missouri, not Kansas. Got to get it straight. Um, Deb is there under tornado watch in the valley north of LA. Golly, take it easy. Inside, we used to hang out in the closet when there'd be a hurricane coming through in Florida, so take it easy. Hi, Karen, Southern Oregon. Civil War Records is here. Hi, Brian. Thank you for coming to our live stream today. One of these days after Roots Tech, let's get together and have you be a guest on the show. It would be our honor to have you join us. And we do, in fact, have 2 guests today. So let us switch gears. We're going to have Cheryl Hudson Passy come up. Cheryl has previously been a Mondays with Myrt person, so welcome
Yes.
back.
It's so good to be back.
Oh,
I love
and
it.
well, I want to share my screen and show people what you've been doing since last we since last we hung out. Um, Let me get there from here. First of all, you've got your own YouTube channel. Gen Friends is very popular. You follow Relative Race, you and your team
We do.
of regulars. And I see you have the archive lady and Dr. Shelley and a bunch of other people that we know. But anyway, folks, hopefully Randy will share the link to Gen Friends. And I recommend that you subscribe. And when you subscribe, you have the option on YouTube. Let me zoom in a little bit. It just seems like we're not close enough. There we go. You have the option. I've subscribed and I know everything that Sherry's doing over there because I didn't just have it be an ordinary bell. I clicked on it and selected all. And that's cool. You also, this is your blog. How how do you keep up with all this stuff, Sherry?
Not very well.
I think you're doing a great job. Let's have everybody else go to the wings, and Sherry and I are going to talk about this other thing she's done. It's her book, Genealogy in Reverse, Finding the Living, a Practical Guide for Genealogists. This is an interesting thought because basically we say that genealogists study the dead, as you know, our
Mhm.
ancestors, our
Mhm.
progenitors. It could be our direct line or the brothers and sisters of our ancestors, which is where the richness comes in because one of them got the family Bible, but I got the
Yes.
pictures kind of thing. So
Or you got nothing and the other line's got everything.
exactly, exactly. So talk to me some more about why this book? Why genealogy in reverse?
Well, it all started with, I do repatriation work for the U.S. Army. And so I get an Army case, and my job is to create a family tree and then go in reverse and look for potential DNA matches. And that's what I do. A lot of times I've got to go up the tree several generations sideways and then back down again. Our soldiers, their living relatives are dying out. I very rarely can find a child. Their children have passed on, and I'm getting really lucky if I can find a niece or a nephew, let alone a sibling. I mean, it's just they're just leaving us. And so I have to go down the line and see who I can find that are still living. And so I put this presentation together. People were asking me how I did it, how the best way they can find their living cousins out there to see if they want, for DNA or for the family Bible. or whatever stories, pictures, whatever they may have that can share. And so I put this together first as a talk for Roots Tech, and it was picked up for Roots Tech, so I did it. And then the genealogical publishing company reached out and said, could you put your talk into a book? Because I think more people need to be able to see your methods and how you do that, and how I stalk people and find their sometimes it feels that way.
Well, folks, Randy has shared the link on my behalf. Thank you. To the book at genealogical.com. Genealogical Publishing Company is one of the two biggies in the United States
Yes.
that publish strictly for the genealogy market. So that's a very trusted website. And
they've also, I'm sorry, Pat, I was just going to say they've also made it available on Amazon as well.
Oh yeah.
So you can search my name on Amazon, which is the weirdest thing to me.
Good for you. I'm proud of you.
What comes up? It's just weird to me. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's perfectly okay. This is all about you and the work that you're doing. So it used to be that when we had DNA results and the other person, they had like 4 generations, that would be lucky. Because then, but you might still not understand how you actually are related to that person. And so you end up doing, they may have only put their direct line people, and you need to flesh it out. And so we do what Blaine Bettinger called the quick and dirty tree. But the work that you do repatriating the remains of our fallen service persons is incredibly tender, meaningful work. Thank you for doing it.
Well, thank you. I think that I've had some really wonderful moments in calling people. I did reach out a couple of years ago. I've been doing this for about 6 years now. I was able to call and get in touch with one of the soldiers' daughters who was 86 years old. She and her daughter were planning her birthday party the day that I called.
That's pretty cool.
That was so special. I have called people who were second and third cousins that say, I've got his Purple Heart. How did you know to call me? I'm the one that's got, his documents and his Purple Heart. It's just, there's a special spirit about being led to these people, I think, to help them find their way home.
Oh man. Are yours principally Army or Navy? Or
I'm Army, working on World War II cases is what I'm doing right now. So,
okay.
Which is amazing. And if you see the book, I dedicate it to my grandfather who died in World War II and his 2 brothers that died in World War II, just within months of each other. One of those brothers his body didn't return home. He's still listing as missing in action. So at the time that I was putting the book together, I'd always said with my family, I'm paying it forward. Maybe one day,
yeah,
somebody will open a case on him, and they have. And I say that now in the book. The case has been opened. He was he was a paratrooper, and another group. He's Army Air Corps, so another group is doing those records. And I got a message and said, "Hey, just tell me who to call. I know you know what I'm doing. Just tell me who to call." In this family, he didn't have children, so I was able to show him who he could get the Y DNA from, and so I know that's been done. I know my mom's cousin who lives in the family home was contacted, and she's so excited. And so we're hoping. The rumor was his plane went down right outside of Sicily, and they didn't make it. Well, it turns out that, and I'd heard this rumor through a group that honors those soldiers, and they said, no, we think the plane landed, and a lot of them were taken prisoner of war. So, but
what
it would
story.
be wonderful. It'd be wonderful to be able to, because there is a grave marker for him, but of course there's nothing. The 3 brothers are buried together. The two that they brought the bodies home, my grandfather and his brother, that they had the bodies for, their caskets came home the same day. My mother remembered vividly that she was 8 when they were brought home. She remembers vividly that
So these
that
were her
funeral.
brothers,
This was her dad and her uncles.
her
So
dad and her uncle. So her
Mhm.
grandmother. Oh, how many
Yes,
children were they lost? 3 boys.
they lost 3 boys within the telegrams. The telegrams came July, September, and October of the same year.
These are
Yeah.
very, I can't even imagine.
Yes. Yes. And their grave site is a historical site in the city of Camden, South Carolina, in the Quaker Cemetery. So it's got the historical marker on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Oh,
dedicated the book to them.
yeah. I think this is incredible, incredible. Let's see what people in the community have to say, okay? Um, so Claire is saying, this is what I'm working on right now with a client wanting to give a box of photos to a descendant that so it doesn't get
Mhm.
thrown out. Yeah.
Sure.
Um, and Hillary, who's in the wings here, one of our panelists said, you need these skills when you're working with DNA matches, although you know who you are trying to connect with, but you need to build out those trees and
Mhm.
then build down. And so, Hillary, let me pull. Would you come up on the panel? Tell me, is that the Civil War Graves Commission? I'm not. I don't know what CWGC stands for. Come on, bring yourself up. What does that stand for, dear?
Commonwealth War Graves
Oh,
Commission.
Commonwealth,
I'll
right.
put and I'll put the link in for in the chat.
Okay, thank you. Of
Yeah,
course it is.
yeah.
It wouldn't be Civil War. I've been helping
No,
Mr.
it's all
Myrt with
the
his
common.
Civil War research.
Yeah, it's all the Commonwealth countries, so it's not just the UK, but it's some places like Australia and Canada, anywhere that was part of the Commonwealth. They will do things for. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, let's see what else. Nadine is working on replacing Civil War veterans' headstones and obtaining headstones for vets with no headstones. Boy, you're busy, 100 and counting. It is so good for us to be doing this kind of research. And okay, Gwen and I had the same question, so thank you, Hillary, for giving us that information. And then Randy has given us the actual link. Remember, it's not me being multitasking. He's the one that's posting on my behalf on the YouTube side.
It was
So
actually me, but it doesn't
let's
matter.
bring Randy up because he has something to say about this, where it comes to the work that he, as a researcher, is doing to find DNA matches. So, got him? Can you bring him up?
Yeah.
Okay. So, talk to us, Randy.
Well, I was looking at the YouTube side. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So,
Surprise. So I've been trying to build my tree that I have, an extensive tree, down from 4th great grandparents to living folks, using all the resources that Sherry names, and I have the book. So yeah,
Thank you.
got the book.
but yeah. So and it's been very helpful because it helps find DNA matches when the DNA match doesn't have a tree or a big tree.
Mhm.
Maybe have 10 people in a tree and they think they're done, but it only goes back to grandparents or great grandparents. So if I can find a tree of a DNA match that has a deceased grandparent or great grandparent, I can usually find how they're related to me.
This is good. And actually, Randy, you've given Miriam an assignment as if she doesn't have enough to do. She likes that idea of just saying, okay, here's the fourth great grandparents. Let's try to find all the living folks that are descendants.
Mhm.
And you specifically used Cheryl's book, Sherry. Why do I call you Cheryl? Except that sometimes that's how it comes out.
Okay.
It's all right. You specifically use the ideas she outlined in her book, Genealogy in Reverse, Finding the Living, and you found that to be useful. Excellent. And I mean, I'm so proud of you, of knowing you, and that you are a published author, and your name belongs in the search box at Amazon. It's
Oh,
really cool.
thank you. I appreciate that, and I'm glad to hear that it helped you, Randy. That's fabulous. And I give tools where to go to look for people. Not just how to find people's names. That's wonderful if you're finding names, but then what do you do? So there are techniques out there. When I call the families of the soldiers, the first question always is, "How did you find me?" It's not, "Are you asking for money? Is this a spam call?" It's, "How did you find me?" And so I give some tips and tricks on how to find people, even using social media. You would be surprised at what you can find on social media. It kind of does feel like stalking. I can't help it if people don't lock down their social media. and their pictures will say, comments, "Oh, look at you and your grandchildren. Look at you and your daughter so and so. Look at you and blah 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 and your new home in wherever." You know what I mean? That's how I find people.
It's pretty
And
cool.
I just helped somebody the other day do the same kind of thing. And this was a DNA case. She just reached out to me and said, "Do you think you can help me find these people? We've got a match, but we don't know. We've got a name, but we don't know where they are." And I said, "Give me a few minutes." And we found them.
Interesting. All right, I'm going to pull the rest of the panelists up myself because our question of the day is, well, let's see. How do you phrase it when you are going to be contacting somebody you've never spoken to before?
Mhm.
How do you approach it? And I would like a couple of tidbits of advice, Sherry, and then we'll ask the panelists how they've
Sure.
approached it.
With the soldiers, what I do is I send them a letter introducing me, the Army. There's an official letter from the Army. So if you're doing something personal, I would do the same kind of thing. I would send them some kind of communication first instead of just cold calling somebody flat out and scaring them to death.
Mm,
And so when I do call people, I track my letters and I can tell it's been delivered. So
hmm
it's not just, "Oh, by the way, I'm looking for you." Um, Now, if I don't hear from them, I'll call them or whatever. But I let them know what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how they can help instead of just bombarding them with all this information. If it's a person that's second, third cousin and they can't figure out where they're even going to fit, I always send a tree and say, this is where the soldier fits. This is where you fit. So you could do the same
Oh,
thing. This is where I fit. This is where you would fit. These are our common ancestors. And these are the things that I'd like to talk to you about. Let's share. Let's work together. And I tell people too, you don't own your ancestors. You just don't. But we can't demand that other people share either. We just can't. And so be really, really careful, because if you come at people too hard and act like, "You better share with me, that's my great grandfather or great great grandfather, and I need this information," that's just not playing, as you always say, playing well in the sandbox. Give people grace, give them time to think about it. Always leave them with a positive experience from you, because I've had people tell me, "No, I don't want to have anything to do with this," and then receive a phone call 2 or 3 weeks later, sometimes later than that, and saying, "Okay, we've given it more thought." Especially with what I do, they look into it, make sure it's legitimate. But they're still probably going to want to look at you too. If they've never heard of you before, they might want to do their own research and make sure you really are somebody from the tree and you don't have a famous person in your tree that you're trying to get money,
yeah,
or,
yeah.
yeah, or something like that. And so just be be very polite, be gentle, be kind, and don't come at people full force, even though we
I
really
like
want
I like
information.
that you gave them the connection.
Mhm.
You explained how it's connected because you're
Yes.
giving them something, not just
Right.
saying, not just asking for something.
Exactly. Exactly. And you can send some pictures if you want, whatever you feel comfortable doing, and saying, these are the things that I know and I'd love to share with you. Especially when you are looking for those family Bibles or pictures or whatever. When you're doing DNA, you know how people feel about DNA. I mean, that scares people right off. But you
Hmm.
can explain to them why you need the DNA, how that DNA is going to help them, why it's important, for you to maybe do a DNA test if you haven't done it before. Buy that DNA test for them, offer to do that and manage the kit. But people are afraid of DNA. So that needs to be dealt with very gently. And, you know,
All
it can
right.
be hard.
Well, let's ask the
Yes.
panelists. I don't know if any of you panelists have either been approached by somebody that's a possible DNA match. If you had a reaction to the approach that person took, or if you have certain strategies that you may have used, let's go to. I mean, raise your hand. Who wants to comment on this? Okay, Jill.
Well, I have a kind of the counter to Cheryl's approach, which I think is absolutely the right one. I have an experience where someone approached me by email, and the email was, "Your dad is my grandfather, and I'm looking for more information." Needless to say, I was totally shocked, totally shocked. And that was about her only line that she gave in
Mm,
this.
Oh.
So I was like, if that was anybody other than a genealogist, we would all just, explode, kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing, with that kind of directness of it.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, I had to breathe deep, put my genealogy hat on, and say, well, it is possible he served World War II over in London. I have no idea what he did over there. He
Mm.
was married at the time my brother had been born. Doesn't sound like my dad, but it could have been. And so I wrote her back gently and said, so what proof do you have? Here's my dad's full name, his birth date, when he served, and that sort of thing. Just gave her a brief biography of my dad. She wrote back, "Oh, it's not even the same guy. Sorry." Click buzz.
Oh.
oh,
I had to write her back. And I said, "I think in the future you might be better off if you just say, I think we're related, but
there
I
you go.
don't know how." I couldn't believe it.
She's
Oh.
lucky that you're the one she wrote to.
Mhm.
'Cause I don't think I
Mhm.
would have been that patient. Although I
I
do
just,
have questions about my dad's service.
right. Who
No, I'm
knows?
teasing.
Who knows
No,
what my dad was doing over there?
yeah.
So, anyway, Cheryl, I really appreciate your comments, because you're right. You almost cannot be gentle enough.
Enough. Exactly.
I mean,
Especially the world we live in today, too. I mean, everybody thinks you're after them for something, you know?
Hmm.
yeah. No, I've been asked things like, well, how did you find me? Well,
Yeah.
I'm a genealogist. That's my
Yeah,
job.
that's my
Yeah.
job, and that's what I'll tell them too. Well, it's my job, and then it's really funny if it's a DNA match. Like, how did you find me? Well, you did take the DNA test.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to get a medical doctor to
Sorry.
take a consumer DNA test, which they come with a heavy load of skepticism about
Mhm.
consumer science here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, and he also revered his grandfather, who I was saying was probably, I didn't know, but I didn't say he was, but I was testing to see if his grandfather was grandfather was the grandfather of my husband. Turned out he was, but he was pretty livid on the phone.
Mm.
about how I had just destroyed his family. But I started with a letter, a gentle letter,
Yeah.
and that sort of thing.
That
Um,
is the hard part, isn't it? That
Yes.
it's very hard.
DNA pulls up all kinds of secrets that had
Mhm.
been long kept,
Right.
Right.
and it it's a difficult thing. Anybody else on the panel want to? Yeah, Hillary, and then
We
Miles.
Yeah, the DNA course that I've been doing, we've actually been discussing how do you approach people with DNA matches,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually discussed how do you approach people that you know when they don't you don't get a DNA match, because this is these are things that people that are in the course have had happen to them or whatever, and they know, and then thinking, well, how do I approach this? So it's very much been, you need a gentle approach with anything. Of all the people I've ever approached through like finding somebody through social media, I've only had one person come back to me, they didn't really want to know. That's somebody who is actually a relative of mine who I managed to trace through using social media. But
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, people have been quite happy to when you said, oh, well, I think we might be related, sort of thing. And that's basically all you need to often say is, we may be related. Do you want to communicate? And if they don't come back to you, they don't, because a lot of people won't. But those that
Mm-hmm.
are interested will do, and then you can see where you go from there.
It would help if you had like an old picture
Yes.
of the person or a
Mhm.
sketch. Yeah. Miles, you had a comment.
Yeah, I mean, I contact people quite often when I find photographs or things of that sort at the flea market or the secondhand store. This picture right behind me is one of those secondhand store pictures. But they ask, "How do you find me?" Well, generally because they have contributed something on Ancestry or Family Search, and they're in that tree, and so I just link into them and contact them through that source and let them know I have that information if they want to receive it. On the other hand, my wife, she does all of our client DNA work, and many times in that case, you're working on non-parental events. You're trying to find these people who have biological family out there that they want to discover, and she took her DNA class, and they have a whole section on how to correspond, how to broach that question to people as you find them. And again, they contribute DNA, but many of the times those people don't even go back and look at their DNA once they've got their ethnicities. It might be 2 or 3 years before they happen to look back and see if they've got something. And then they get really, it's like, what is this? This email that I got. Or you have the people who are, as was said, why did you contact me? What do you want from me? And my wife has had that with, a stepbrother that she had discovered online. And he's like, why are you contacting me? I don't have any money. Yeah. It's like, no,
Well,
that's not what we're contacting you for. We're asking you a question,
well, I think initially people took DNA tests because they wanted to know if they should wear lederhosen or
Right.
take up throwing pizza in the air, to make it from scratch kind of thing,
Mhm.
because that was the advertising that they saw. And Ancestry's doing a really good job on mainstream media. They're always advertising for even Antiques Roadshow, let
Mhm.
alone the Genealogy Roadshow. But who do you think you are and things like that. And with all the work that we see in mainstream media, but that's that's not what we're dealing with. But you're right; it's mostly misattributed parentage scenarios that the average genealogist would be um, uncovering and then need to contact that DNA match to see, what's going on here. Let's see what the community has to say. Gwen says, great advice in regard to the question of the day, especially for surprise DNA results. I had my cousin who was a doctor ease the way because she's good at it. Yeah. Okay. And This is a good one. Monta wants to know, Sherry, what do you
Mhm.
say when someone says they're afraid to do the DNA test?
I explain to them, especially with the Army. I do it mostly for the Army, and I explain to them how the Army does their DNA test. They'll get a contract, and they are not going to use that DNA for anything else except for their database, and their database is used to rule in and rule out soldiers. So your DNA is not only helping to maybe identify your loved one, but it might end up ruling it out and helping to identify someone else. Um, I for those that aren't for the Army, I try to help them understand, maybe give them articles to read, explain how DNA works, those types of things, because they just hear so much crazy stuff, I think, out on the media. And they're always afraid that their DNA is going to be sold somewhere, or, you know, used in a way they don't want it to be used, and things like that. So I can see that people um, are afraid. But when it's family, I really do talk to them about why, especially why I need to use it, what platform I would like to use it on, and what that platform entails, and what they do, and their privacy policies and things like that, just to educate them. But I mean, if somebody's really against it, you can't really talk them into it. But like I said, be kind, be gentle, and just hope that they'll change their mind, especially once they've looked into the things that you're telling them. Sometimes I find people that'll say, "Well, I'm not sure," and I'll say, "But if I buy the test, would you take it?" Oh, well, okay. Suddenly, they don't have to spend any money on the test.
Yeah.
They're okay, and they'll say things like that. But I wouldn't even know what to do with it, and I'll say, "Fine, you can give me permission to be the one that is in charge of your kit." And then they're like, okay. So it just depends on the person and how staunch they are, and how much bad stuff they've heard about DNA, how much you can educate them.
Uh, and I think that sometimes the first answer can be no. And like you say, a couple weeks later,
Yeah.
they'll actually contact you back because they've had
Right.
time to mull and
Mull
ponder,
and
as Mark
ponder.
would say. Here's a thought. And by the way, I do agree with Kyla that you can't be gentle enough is a good
Exactly.
phrase to keep in mind just generally in our
Mhm.
lives. Marion says a handwritten letter has sometimes worked well when she needed to contact a likely cousin, but she didn't. She knew that she didn't want to be dismissed as a likely fraud.
Mhm.
I get that. And okay. So yeah, and Miriam's saying, yeah, it sometimes takes people time to process the info in their own time. You can't hang up on a letter. It's sitting there. And they're
I
going to
used
think about putting it away and throwing it away, and then they're not quite sure. Got to let time pass.
I used
Valerie's,
I
you
used a
say?
letter. I used a letter when I was trying to contact a relative of my husband's,
Hmm.
who was quite a close relative. He's my father-in-law's cousin, first cousin, and I contacted somebody who I thought was his mother, and I did get contact back. And it turned out eventually that we've actually met in person. He came to my father-in-law's funeral when it was my father-in-law's funeral. So
Oh,
made contact with the family then, and actually brought us a little locket with some photographs in it, which was nice. So it is worth making that contact.
it's always worth it. Now, Valerie, our de facto remote panelist, basically, she's here all the time. Um, she's had to think twice, sometimes three times or more before she contacts someone. Her approach is I don't have the right to ruin their lives with shocking information right off the bat. And then Sherry points out something. It isn't just, and I'm not, there's repatriation issues and a legitimate reason to contact. Some people may react to the fact that you're just a curious genealogist and want to resolve um, what's not showing up correctly on your family tree, and maybe they can help. but adoptions also have
Mhm.
this. That can be another thing that's occurred that was never talked about in a family.
Right.
Um, I knew an elderly woman who who never spoke about the fact that she had adopted this child.
Mhm.
And I was talking to one of my friends, Barb, before she passed away, and she said in that time period, if a woman was infertile, it could have been the guy for all we know, there was the thought that they were infertile because they had contracted a sexually transmitted disease.
Mm.
And that may or may not have been the case, but it was embarrassing. And I thought I never thought of it that way because I live now and I can't think
Mhm.
about,
Mhm.
what were the rules and the mores and the cultural norms and thoughts about what is appropriate or inappropriate, how different they were even in the beginning of the 20th century because I didn't live in that time period. So, um, uh, I like this comment from Marion. I think they realize this is on that handwritten letter. I realize yours is on official letterhead when you contact them, Sherry, but I don't have official letterhead that carries that kind of weight. But Marion's, uh, the idea to do the handwriting, yeah, maybe that person will hold on and not put it in file 13 that quickly because they recognize a scammer would not spend the time to do the individual handwritten note. Okay, and I think you said something, this is Ellen, on the YouTube side, but talk to me about too much information.
I find, well, I work on client cases for adoptees and that, and I tell people don't write a book. Like,
Right.
keep it simple, make an
Mhm.
open question so that they feel inclined to respond back.
Mhm.
And I always track everything that I send because sometimes you don't get an answer for a couple of years, and then you might not remember what were you even talking about.
Mhm.
And I try more than once because sometimes I tried it once. Sometimes it takes quite a few letters or messages to get them. And then my last one was about mail. When you send something in the mail, track it and you don't have to write a novel again, but track it so that you know they got it. Because
Mhm.
if they didn't receive it, then you're thinking they did, but maybe they didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
this
can
day and
send those
age.
signature required
Yeah, yeah,
letters, and people think, "Oh, I got a signature required letter. What is that?" And then they'll
that
sign
must be
for it.
important.
It must be important whether they'll respond or not. But that's good for me because then I can always say, "Well, they signed for it, so I know I've got the right person I was looking for because they signed for the letter."
Yeah,
Although there have been times that I have talked to them and they said, "No, the post office just delivered it. They never made me sign for it." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Mm.
Ah, but
Well,
frustrating.
with regard to the adoption, two people out in on the YouTube side are responding. Hi, Tony, our guy in Ireland. My mother was adopted, and I was told the records were locked or destroyed. That's how I got into genealogy because I refused to accept that it was a block. Wow. And then Kathleen is saying she didn't find out her mother was adopted until after she died. I used DNA to track down her birth parents. Both families were rather shocked, but very open. You know, we are responsible for our behavior and how we act in reaching out and in our communication with other people. I still have to work on mine. But we can't control their reaction. So time can make a difference. Our gentle attitude can make a difference. And sometimes the answer is no and the door is closed. But hopefully, even, I mean, we have seen things on message boards where years later
yes.
somebody responds and says yes.
And we need to
Um,
remember you were talking about the people's mindset. we've got to remember that a lot of these people that we are trying to connect to say, I think that you are my biological grandmother or whatever, when they gave their baby up for adoption, it was hard for them, but they were told nobody is ever going to be able to track this. Some of these women may have done this under duress. They may have been battered women. They may have been under some type of abuse. That we don't know what their story is. And so, as much as the child has the right to know this information, we've got to be so careful with those biological families because we do not know what was going on at the time that that child was adopted. Some of those children could have been taken out of homes where it was dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had to, find new families
Well,
for them. So we've got to be really careful and mindful that we cannot put our modern day, everybody deserves to know everything mindset on people who did what they did. Sometimes they had no choice but to do what they did.
there's also stories of places here in the United States and elsewhere where the mother was told, the unwed mother typically, was told the baby died, when
Yes,
actually what happened is somebody, you know, that whoever
historic.
delivered
Yep,
sold that baby for
yep,
tens of
exactly.
thousands of dollars. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, sometimes we have a thought, a hypothesis, a story in our minds based on what we think happened, and it has
Hmm.
nothing to do with what happened. And so
I hear
we've
you.
got to be so careful.
Well, I think that we've got our point across and we understand the value of the book that you've written. Randy gave a personal testimonial about how it's helped him with his
Thank you,
fourth
Dan.
generations back and down to the present research, and about being kind and gentle. And thank you, Randy, for sharing the link to the book. I've got it here on Amazon. So you can see it up close. I always like to share these so that people can get the branding recognition, what the book looks like, or a website. There we go. Apparently that was AI on your cover. It's cool. I love it. I love it. So thanks for visiting with us today.
Well,
It's been,
thank you. Thank you. It's been such a joy to see everybody again. I want to do
oh,
it again sometime.
come back anytime. You're always welcome here. You
Thank
know
you.
that. All
Thank
right, I would
you.
like everyone except Miles to be in the wings because I want, as a transition from this very tender subject, I would like to show you something curious that's happening in Miles' world. And so I'm going to, and then we are going to switch gears again and talk about the ride along. Okay, Miles, you've got a picture on the wall in your virtual background, but
Yeah.
that's not true, is it?
So this picture that's right over my shoulder here is actually on my wall in the background. And if I um, turn off my visual effects here,
Your
real
background, yeah.
background there, can you see that
Yes,
picture on the wall? For some
yes.
reason, it wants to show through, and we're joking about it. This is a picture of my wife's fourth great grandmother that was discovered in a secondhand store in Seattle, Washington. And this lady actually lived in Georgia all of her life.
But look, it shows up still. Now, I just put on a virtual background and you just see a little fluff around my hair. I think your ancestor wants you to do a little work on her side of the family tree because it's like so far removed from your head and that is odd, don't you think? It's one of
Yeah,
those freaky things. I love it. I noticed it in the green room and I had to make a point of showing you that. Thank you, Miles. I appreciate it.
sure.
All righty. So we're going to switch gears again. Let me pull up my second guest um, today, a partner in crime, and that would be Barbara at Projectkin. Hi.
Hi there.
Okay, your mic is working beautifully.
Whew.
Oh, so you have been a busy girl. We
Yeah.
have I'm putting on my GeneaBloggers hat now. For 18 years, the genealogy bloggers on my side of it have worked together, encouraging writing, and then that expanded to podcasts and then video and webinars. Any way to get the word out about our ancestors, to preserve their memories. And then Substack happened. And I discovered you and a plethora of writers who happen that I didn't ever know before, that were not part of Genia bloggers. Um, and we got a couple of them in the audience. Um, and Bill is one of the panelists. Um, are you herding cats over there at Project Kin?
She's asleep.
No, I meant literally. Well, I didn't mean literally. Okay. Um,
It's good training.
I know.
The
Well,
secret is catnip.
uh, well, let me share the screen on what we've been working on.
Yep.
So basically, we have the same goals. Project Kin is uh, your baby. And what is your goal there? I think it's the
My,
same.
my goal is it's very close, but it's a little bit different. From my
Yeah.
perspective, there are a lot of people who don't even know how to spell genealogy, who have family stories, and they have a little 10-year-old that turns to them and says, "So, what's our family story? Where are we from?" Or, those classic questions.
Mhm.
There are also those, we were just talking about adoption and other uncomfortable family stories that arise in a family that just verboten, don't talk about it.
Mm.
My own family is complicated in a lot of those ways, all intertwined. And at the end of the day, I come away from a career in technology to say, wait a minute, the important thing here is we're not telling the stories. And I emphasize, as you do, to get the stories told, but there's a twist. From my perspective, it's get the stories told in any way possible,
Mhm.
including completely privately. Because I think, in fact, the most important stories that need to be told very often do need to be told in private. But there's a lot of tech. We don't even do anything without tech anymore. So I can help on a lot of that as it relates to making sure we do things like archive, know what we're doing with backups, know what we're
Mhm.
doing with digitization and data as a whole. So yeah, we have a lot of the same goals. And when it comes to something like Roots Tech, we're partners.
Well,
It's a great fit.
it made sense, and I had known you now for over a year, and it was logical for us. Your group was going to be meeting across the street in the Marriott at the Starbucks, and I said, "How about if you come to the booth and we have the booth together?"
Yeah. And
Bec-
in, in fact, our local connection, who was going to be on site as I'm remote, is Kyla, who's right here in the audience today as well,
Mhm.
because she is also, as a matter of fact, a Genia blogger,
Mhm.
and was just only had her own private pathway. So, it's like our beads connected.
Yep, it's a big circle. It's an ever widening circle. So this website, and Randy has already shared the link with you. We have made a partnership. It's very relaxed, and the collaboration is the goal, and lifting up our colleagues and spotlighting the work that they do in sharing their experiences at Roots Tech, what they're learning, something that's affecting their research, something that's affecting their writing, whatever it is, whatever technology they use is not platform specific. People know I use StreamYard. Yesterday I had to use Zoom again and I forgot a lot without Cousin Russ there to help me, but I got through it. Um, it can be the work that we do sharing the story of an ancestor, the memory of my grandma Myrtle playing checkers, or having us paint the front porch steps with a bucket of water, but we were only 3 and 5. Yeah. Those
And you
stories
keep
need to
doing it.
be told, and this is the way my grandchildren communicate with me and vice versa. It's just quick little cell phony things, and I run across a new picture. We have a group chat. This is the technology. So it's not, that's the technology they like. My best friend, who happens to be a cousin way back, it's the telephone
Mhm.
because we're old school.
Yeah. And
So,
many of us have letters that we've inherited from
oh,
our ancestors who were talking to each other, and finding ways to make those connections and understand what that means. Who are these people? What were they talking about? And what does that have to do with us today? And what
mm-hmm,
can we learn from that? And that, I
mm-hmm,
think, to me, was really a big eye opener. I didn't grow up on the mainland of the United States. There was a lot of cultural things that I just didn't understand contextually because I wasn't here.
mm-hmm,
And understanding my own family connections to where they were there. I have people there. It's
mm-hmm,
just breathtaking. And I'm
mm-hmm.
still learning to wrap my head around that. Um, in genealogy, family history is inherently a team sport.
Well, definitely.
Inherently. And not only are we collaborating with the living, we're collaborating with those who are gone.
Mm,
And when we think going forward, not about our grandchildren, but our grandchildren's grandchildren, whom we will
mm-hmm,
never know.
mm-hmm.
Well, what will they already have that, data and blah, blah, blah will have already done? And what will
Well,
they
we all
want to know?
we all hope that our great 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 grandchildren will be related to Randy because he's such a prolific genealogist and genealogy content producer. But let's talk about uh, the Roots Tech ride along. Now, our collaboration for ride along partners doesn't have to end with Roots Tech, but that's the next big conference,
Right.
arguably the largest one in the world.
Yep.
And some of our content producers, our writers, our bloggers, our podcasters, our videographers, our cell phonists. Is that a thing? I'm calling
Oh,
it that.
cell phoneista. I like that.
Yeah. Are attending in person, like I will get to meet Kyla in person. And some of them, like Bill Moore, a panelist here, are attending virtually, and they are just as interested as you and I are in getting the word out about, oh, I took a class and this is what has is going to influence my writing, or this is there was a great idea for sharing using a cell phone, whatever it is. And so this first part on the roads to Roots Tech is to share any posts that have to do with the insights and discoveries that we as family storytellers have. And we
Yep.
could be archivists or historians who do deep dive citations, or it could be an interview on site, or some of the interviews I'm doing some, you've been doing some online. It's possible if you go to this website and you have a blog or a vlog or a podcast, share your posts here. Now, I'm going to be there in person, and it's all I can do to be nice. But Barbara's going to be home curating what you are posting. She's created an events calendar so that you can see what is being live streamed direct from like the exhibit hall. I'm trying really hard on the Tuesday luncheon at for GeneaBloggers and Projectkin that's going to be in the restaurant of the Radisson Hotel,
On the
215
calendar.
215 West South Temple in Salt Lake. Um,
And it's on
I
the calendar.
want I want to live stream to you so that you can, I mean, it'll be public, but so that you can see who shows up.
I can do that.
It'll be kind of fun. I see the cat is one of your
Yep.
editorial assistants. Let me pull that up. It's so
Such an
cute.
attitude. Such an
With
attitude.
cat
Well,
with
then now
an
she's going to see herself on the camera. That's what she loves.
oh my
We'll
gosh.
get the delay to there it is. Look. There now
Yeah.
she's got now she's watching.
Oh, she's beautiful. All right, back to the exploration. If you want to be a guest on a live stream, hosts are always interested in guests.
I guess
Um,
so.
we have a booth, and you've done all this artwork and laid this out, created this graphic. We have a banner for the back of the booth. We have a pull-up something or other banner. Um, and there's also, well, this isn't our work, Relatives at Roots Tech. That's how Bill and I found out that we are actual cousins, as
And you and I
opposed,
are cousins too.
well, I just think that's pretty amazing. I know our ancestors are cracking up. So while I have a minute here to talk about this, first of all, thank you for being so artistic and creative. There are links here to GeneaBloggers, that's what this is, and to Projectkin directly. There's the events page where the posts will show up, where the recordings will show
They're
up.
already there.
And these last two are kind of fun. Now, we're used to swag being t-shirts and things like that, and I've actually ordered this t-shirt and this tote bag. But I forgot to tell the GeneaBloggers yesterday that I did this. I ordered 30 of these buttons. So if folks come to help at the booth, I'm giving them a button. So it's a 3-inch button.
Nice.
But tell me about all this with all these other links.
Sure. So Projectkin's audience, and I've gone out of my way to make sure that we can reach with events people from Europe to Western Australia because I'm in California and timing works that way. So I have made that effort since day one. And I realized that for all of our English speaking community, I wanted a way that they could buy these,
If
they
they
could
wanted.
participate essentially without the fooling around with currencies and most of all shipping and duties.
Oh,
So there are stores for each of those different sites. And depending on where you are, Zazzle should pull up the right site and the right currency. So you can make the purchases. And according to Australia, it's already working. Thank you very much, Jennifer Jones.
well,
So it's,
I
already
like
there.
that inclusiveness because people who go to Roots Tech get the T-shirt and then they wear it at their local genealogy conference, and people are like, "Oh, well, now we're doing that with this collaboration between us." But what is really creative? We are really paying a lot of attention to the fact that many people are choosing not to travel for a variety of reasons, which I'm not going into because I'm being gentle today. And so we have the do-it-yourself swag. And yesterday
Just
there were,
do
you
a quick
just,
refresh on that screen and it'll just, yeah. Thank you very
okay.
much. Something's wrong. There
Oh,
you go.
because a few things have changed.
There
There
you
we
go.
go. Yeah. Oh, so in the past, and you may have noticed a lot of the panelists are wearing their blogger beads today. This was a thing that was started by Thomas McKenty. He joined a couple of years into GeneaBloggers, and he was really good about doing things like
It's a
this
great
to
idea.
promote GeneaBloggers. And people would actually stop us and say, "Where did you get that necklace?" And then it gave us a chance. Literally, they'd ask us that. We would tell them about we're a group of writers, and now we're called genealogy content producers. Sheesh, we still write.
Storytellers.
Yeah, that's good. Anyway, I can't buy these anymore. If I could, I would. Cousin Russ and I, once Thomas did his thing, um, probably on year 2, we started providing the blogger beads. And because we like that concept.
hmm
But we can't buy them anymore. So we thought of this, and let me zoom in on this very closely. We thought of, okay, here's the blog. I have regular blogger beads. You have beads.
DIY.
Yeah. And then what we've done is you created this um, a printout. Let me pull it up. A printout where you can create your own. And I've laminated mine. Yep, scissors, just cut them up and put it on there. So this shows that you are this year on the ride along. And it's a 2-page thing. And I printed mine front to back because you're so creative. Oh, and I mean, I help with some of the wording
Mhm.
and stuff like that. There's an example. Let me pull this back up here. Um, yeah, I'm going to bring my stapler or my tape. And when people come to the booth, if they forgot to print this out, I've got you covered. But I hope you print them out at home because if 5,000 of you, well, no, there's 2,500 of us. If all 2,500 of our GeneaBloggers showed up at the booth, plus all your 2,500 Projectkin people, I don't have enough. I mean, I do have to bring clothing in my suitcase when I get there. All right. So we did that, but you added something new. What was that?
Extra space, add the bookmarks. I love bookmarks. And I just think it's such a lovely, simple idea.
Whoops. Whoops, it
Oops,
says it
I
was
got to go fix
deleted.
that. Oh, yeah, that's because I updated. I got to go fix that.
All right, but here's what
And
the bookmarks look like. Yeah.
right. So it's two-sided, space for notes. And that was a tip from, I believe it was Kyla, who was saying she meets people at the show and wants to give them something reminding them how we're connected. I
Mm-hmm.
love that idea. You look it up on your phone. I met you. You walk away with something. There's something very powerful socially when you met someone and you traded something, even if it's inexpensive, probably best if it's inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a way to do that. So I decided to just have conference notes, a little blank
And
space, like
my
like a business card.
suggestion, my suggestion was let's do a QR code. So if she's down to her last bookmark, she can share that QR, her last bookmark, and the person can use that QR code to pull up this website uh, reflecting our joint collaboration, where there is so much available on the events column
Right,
page already.
right.
Um,
And if they just posted a live stream, I will, and you've told me about it, I'll get it up to the site just as quick as I can. And now here's a way to show somebody how they can go see the recording of the live stream. It's kind of
okay,
cool.
so we're not charging for this.
Nope.
Um, Zazzle does give you a few pennies on the dollar when people buy
They
something.
actually require it. So it's a 5% royalty that's insisted on. So basically,
And
it's the price of a postage stamp to me with each purchase.
and so that paid for the website. It does not even begin to pay you for the creativity and the time and effort that you've put into this. I should point out, and this is really cool, if you're on the website, she did remember, yes, GenWeb, where they had a map and you could click on your state on the map? It was that kind of technology. If you click on the GeneaBloggers, it takes you to GeneaBloggers. If you click on this side, it takes you to Projectkin. Yep, she's been around a while, guys, but it's because technology is it's your jam, I think.
Well, yeah. If you go to post, it'll include this recording and actually, uh, yeah.
It
So
will be there
we're,
shortly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Well, it's waiting for this recording to
Yeah.
post. Um, and the Roots Tech, doing my best to just keep up with it of what I find. It's like Substack doesn't use hashtags. I can do searches. And I actually kind of like that they don't use hashtags. It keeps it less noisy. At the same time, I'm doing a search here and it's not explicit to Substack. It is global in that
Mm-hmm.
sense. I just want to hear about it anywhere.
Yeah.
We are platform independent, and that is super, super important and free, I'll add.
Yeah. And it's because we love spotlighting the work of our friends.
Yeah,
I
I'm
gotta
learning.
tell you, I have learned a lot about writing by getting to know some of your Projectkin people, and they were writers in their own, writers extraordinaire. There's a lot that comes from collaborating and sharing among colleagues, because I think yeah, dear Myrtle speaks in colloquialisms, and I end my sentences with prepositions and stuff like that. But I think my writing has improved somewhat in the last year because of the influence of some of your writers that I'd never known before. Um, we are finding, and just I'm going to make this a parenthetical note. Folks, for the longest time, we relied on Facebook, and we're finding that for the few of us that have come over on the Substack side, that we love the fact that we're not getting intrusions from too much advertising and from the bots. Like Facebook keeps trying to. I told them I don't want Myrtlebot I don't want it in my group. And it keeps coming up where Myrtlebot will make a post. What was your most fantastic genealogy find? Ugh. And I keep deleting it, after I've already told them I don't need AI robots in my group. Same thing over in GeneaBloggers. I spend more time scrolling past the advertising that is so pervasive. And sometimes I've found, yeah, family history hand. Let's pull the panelists up, if you would please. Hillary, pull everybody up. I don't know if everybody else who's on Substack has found that to be true. Ellen, you have a Substack account now? You've muted yourself.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay, so how's it going?
I started it about probably a year ago, but I've really been in the last couple months focusing on it. And I just went over 100 people, which isn't a lot, but I mean, I really just started focusing on it. So
100 is a lot, because if you went to your local genealogy society meeting, virtual or in person, very few, and those are considered the standard bearers, would have 100 people in attendance.
right.
So if your reach is 100, if your reach is 50, if your reach is 35, that's
Yeah.
35 people that wouldn't have otherwise heard
Well,
about.
it's just smaller than, my YouTube channel and the other stuff. So I think
Okay.
it's small.
You're bragging. You're
No, I'm
doing
not.
great.
No, I'm not.
No, you're allowed. You're allowed. I love it. Anybody else? Jill just ventured over on Substack, so you probably can't tell yet. In fact, I think I read about it on Facebook, but I'm not sure I'm subscribed to you yet, so I'll have to do that.
I think I have 5 subscribers.
Mandy.
Well, good. Good for you.
Yeah, I just threw something out there because I had no idea how to post or anything, and so I'm not even in the exploration stage yet. I'm in the what do I do now stage. So
I totally get I totally get that, and I have an answer for you.
okay.
Because years ago, well, last year, it seems like years ago, I did a series of StreamYard things where I talked with Barbara, or I talked with Daniel Loftus, who was already there. I talked with Dan Maloney, one of our panelists, and we talked about it from the content producer, the writer's point of view. And there are 2 basic strategies there. You can that's your blogging platform, or you can be like Randy. Randy, aren't most of your Substack posts a point back to your actual blog?
Most of my Substack posts are freestanding,
Oh, okay.
and I'm up to 260 subscribers, and it's all free. And some have links. Some of the posts have links to the Genie Musings posts, other posts, whatever. I found that I could only really do one post a day on Substack because people started unsubscribing because 2 or 3 was too much.
Well, you
And I
are
think
an overachiever. So if you're somebody like Randy who publishes 3 or 4 things a day, then on your regular blog, and you've done it for years, I mean, don't you have something like 14,000 blog posts?
19,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what you could do then is just do a once a day post over on Substack that gives you links to everything you did that day.
Yeah, I post on both. The the family story that I post every day. I'm doing at least one story a day.
Hmm.
Okay, so I put that on both Substack and Genie Musings.
Okay, Ellen just joined. You
Rodney,
now have 6 subscribers, Jill. And,
I'm on a roll. Boy,
and
that's
what's the
12%
deal that you
increase.
misspelled your
Incredible.
name, Jill? You misspelled your name
I,
when you set up your account.
yeah,
Okay.
I got to get that fixed.
All right. So, here's the other thing. I don't post that frequently. I post when it's Mondays with Myrt every other week and book club to tell you what part of the book we're on. And by the way, we do have book club. I've got it. We're starting to get to the sticky wicket part, which Elizabeth noted. This is we did the fundamentals, but now we're up to actually creating a citation. So those of you who are coming to that meeting 45 minutes after we conclude here, in fact, in about an hour, we'll go live with Strip Bear Guide Book Club. And it will be our last session. I missed last time. Remember, I had to catch a ferry. You have to go when the doctor tells you to go there. So we're going to actually craft citations with advice from Elizabeth, but from your research challenges. That means it's usually 2-part. But anyway, back to the subject of Substack. I only publish a couple of times a month and maybe 1 or 2 other things. And then I post the link back over on Facebook just in case, because I have like a few followers over there in Dear Myrtle.
Yeah, just a few.
Okay. It never was about numbers. Russ and I were telling ourselves it's not about numbers because who comes to the meeting or who reads it, it's because they needed it then. And we don't know. We just do our best. I want to ask Bill. You publish. I got to know you because of Substack. Talk to me about the impact on your relationship with Substack and how you use it. Okay,
So
somebody needs to mute themselves.
I moved off Facebook to Substack a little over a year ago. I just got tired of all the garbage on Facebook, and found that Substack was remarkably clean of that. I met Barbara very quickly after I joined Substack and started posting things really through Projectkin, and just started meeting a remarkable group of people. It's really helped me as a writer, as a content producer. On the lead up to Roots Tech, Kyla and I have been having fun doing some things on video. Sometimes it may be a little silly, but we're having a good time, and we hope everybody else does. It's the thing that I've found on Substack is community. Genealogy can be a really lonely thing. You're spending time in the library or in an archive or online, and you're by yourself, just you and your thoughts. I got on Substack with Projectkin, and all of a sudden I made a bunch of friends, and it's a very supportive. Um, you can post something, they'll go in and um, remark on it, maybe critique it, and I think it's really helped me to be a better writer. And it's where I do most of my work now. Is on there. I don't have time to keep up with multiple locations. I stay busy enough doing what I'm doing. Yeah, so it's it's been a good experience for me, and it's something that I really recommend to people.
It's interesting that you said you're a better writer as well. By having hung out with some of the writers over there on the Substack side, which is interesting. I almost think that we started out as family historians and needed to learn to write. We
Yeah.
didn't have AI in those days, and we had to, but we were just dying to get the word out. And other than a few English comp classes the first couple of years at the university, I don't have a lot of writing background. I think that the writers on the Substack side that you and I have come into contact with, Bill, were had better writing skill training.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And then have chosen. This is just my impression of it. I'm not saying that GeneaBloggers aren't good content producers. They aren't good writers. I think they are. Oh, good. Thank you for sharing Jill's so we can all join her Substack. It's always good to know what people are doing. And Jill, this link I put up for you is the link to, let me share my screen if I can find it. This is the link to the several posts that we did, how to set up an account from scratch on YouTube. Let me get rid of this and pull this in more. How to set up a new account. Looking at it from a content producer's point of view, there's two categories, one for your followers and one for those of you who are producers. Because there's different things, like I thought I could that I would just post under Dear Myrtle, but it's better if I do have a publication, because there's Dear Myrtle the person and Dear Myrtle's a publication. Okay. There's more that I can do when I have a publication. You can arrange them on the page, and you can kind of make it look like a web page in effect. You can pin things, the most important things of late. Okay, so back to our panel. And Jill, I just happened to mute because of the typing. You had a comment on the YouTube side, Barbara. Do you want to talk about genealogy? We're actually a thing over there. They're beginning to recognize that genealogy is a genre.
Oh, you mean within Substack?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, actually, I started agitating for this in like 2024. Because there is this set of, if you go to the Explore button within Substack, you see a bunch of buttons across the top that appear to be categories. So why isn't there one for genealogy? It was mind-blowing to me. So long story short, with enough agitation and petitioning, they said, okay, and they created one. But there are some subtleties to using it. It is not as obvious as I think it should be, in the sense that I can't share that button with the outside world. You have to already have an account and have already expressed an interest in the genealogy category in order to be able to see it, which is kind of annoying. But I wrote up a post for Mission Genealogy on Substack, which is a separate publication I created with a friend to help everybody get past these weirdnesses of the platform. So I'd really encourage it. It's essentially a collaborative platform. You can subscribe to Mission Genealogy and get its posts, but don't be offended if it doesn't follow you back because there's nobody there. There's me, there's Deborah Carl, who writes a fabulous, actually edits a fabulous tips column once a week and roundup and whatnot. She's very happy to share with anybody else, and all part of the same fundamental ethos we're trying to encourage of share and learn and share and grow together.
Hmm. So, let me show you, well, no, that's fine. I think this is the best way to do it. Randy shared his link on Substack. He previously shared mine. Um, I like your concept about sky bridges, and it has to do with all the different technologies we use to get our word or our message out. But talk to me a little bit more about sky bridges, and then we're going to wrap this baby up. We've had
Sure.
quite a day today.
Thank you for asking about that because I do it was really an observation late last year that made me suddenly realize, hey, stop apologizing for Substack. I felt like I had to explain it and try to encourage people. I felt like an employee for Substack. I am not. In fact, I explicitly think we all should be platform independent, and not get focused on one platform versus another. So that's why I put a lot of thought into that post. It's at Projectkin blah 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 Sky Bridges. Just look for that. And I wanted to help each other. In fact, the Roots Tech ride along is a sky bridge in my view, from the
Mhm.
perspective of creating ways that we can connect to each other and reach each other. DigiBridges, but you know why I called it Sky Bridges too? Is it came from the Hobbit trails at the Dragon Con for those who indulge. But the idea was to recognize that there are ways that buildings connect to each other with this level up. I'm not asking you to move. Let's just find ways to get to each other a little more easily.
And to connect.
And it takes a mind shift to realize that, hey, the platforms are trying to keep us on the platform. We don't have to do that. We
Hmm.
can pay attention to the topic, to the people, and go across. We don't really need to live in each other's houses either. And finding ways to uh, find common ground and common spaces to connect, like Mondays with Myrt.
Hmm.
This is also a sky bridge in connecting people across platforms. And that's really what it's all about.
I totally love that concept. If you just take the fact that r- of dear Myrtle and cousin Russ deciding we wanted to have conversations once a week, or now it's once every other week, we've had to adapt the time frame of it. But also um, we were doing Google Hangouts. And
Mhm.
then we were doing business hangouts, which was a skin you could put over Google Hangouts that gave you some more options. Then we moved to Zoom, and we became Zoom zombies. But that helped us because during COVID, suddenly institutes had to, instead of being in person, they had to be virtual. And luckily, we already had experience there and could quickly tutor people. And now they have Teams and Zoom and everything else. And now things have changed for me living on I was going to say deserted island, but there are 900 of us here. But it's a remote island with sketchy internet access. I needed a cloud service that didn't depend on my connection for the message to get out. I might get fuzzy, but everybody else on my panel and will be fine because StreamYard is cloud based. And so that is a type for exactly what you're describing. We need to use the technology that works for our needs at this point in time, and that may change in the future. It doesn't mean we don't like Zoom or we didn't like Google Hangouts. Well, that was early. those were the days.
We can still have opinions.
Yeah, we can. And that's okay. What matters is the actual getting in the room together virtually and having these conversations, and that encourages us.
Yep.
Okay, 1 minute to go. Thank you very much for reminding me. Well, Barbara, thank you for being here. And so I guess that let me close all these little windows and things like that. Um, I am so happy with today's webinar. We talked about a lot of different things today, very tender things. Miles he's got to sign off quickly and find out why his ancestor is showing up when she shouldn't be showing up on the wall behind him magically. And we've talked about what's going to be happening. I do need to have Randy share the link. I'm going to be doing a special wacky Wednesday. Forgot that. Need to do that. Can you pull that link up? Maybe I can. Um, I think, in fact, it was Barbara who, yeah, there we go. Barbara who, well, we all attended a Zoom where Tania Coons taught us about journaling, junk journaling. And people were so interested by that that we are actually going to have a follow-on. It's an actual workshop. It's going to be on February 25th. Let me send that out separately and see if it's clickable. Yeah, having trouble getting the link out. I love technology, I really do, but sometimes it's just Myrt. Let me share that link so you can have it, and I'll pull it up. You need to register for this. It's going to be in Zoom for this reason. The reason it will be in Zoom is that we want everybody in the workshop to be able to screen share. Here I can only have 10 people up on the panel, a total of 12 counting who might be in the wings. And so in order for us to do that special event, I mean, I'm going to have two cameras. I'm going to log in twice. Once so I can speak to our guest, and one that shows my crafting table from above. It's a camera, overhead camera, as I'm actually working. And we want everyone to be on equal ground, and that works better. We can have quite a few people over there on Zoom. So keep that in mind. Sorry, I forgot to do that one thing. All right, now I'm ready to say thank you very much, everyone, for a great Mondays with Myrt. I'm going to take a break, get right to your Strip Bear Guide Book Club at quarter after the next hour, wherever that is in your time zone. And there's nothing left to say, but I'm Dear Myrtle, your not so retired friend in genealogy. Happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.